80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. The rest, just noise. If you've ever ended your day feeling behind despite doing everything, this video will flip how you see time forever. I'll show you how to find your true 20%, cut the fluff, and finally reclaim your day. Section 1. Understanding the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, started with an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto. He noticed something strange in his garden. 20% of his pea plants were producing 80% of the peas. Curious, he looked further and found the same pattern in wealth distribution. 20% of the population owned 80% of the land in Italy, but this wasn't just a fluke. It's a universal principle that shows up everywhere. In business, 20% of customers drive 80% of revenue. In productivity, 20% of your tasks produce 80% of your results. Even in habits, a few actions often create most of your progress or your problems. It's not about doing more. It's about doing more of what matters. Imagine your effort as a funnel. Most of what you pour in disappears, but a tiny stream creates almost all the impact. So why are we still drowning in busy work? You have to spot the high-impact 20% so you can stop spinning your wheels and finally move forward. Work smarter, not harder, and everything changes. Section 2. The Wasted Day Breakdown. Let's walk through a typical day. You wake up, check your phone just for 5 minutes. But suddenly it's 30. You respond to a few messages, scroll through social media, maybe check the news. Then comes the workday. Back-to-back meetings, notifications popping up, a never-ending stream of emails. You reply to 40 of them. You feel busy, even exhausted. But at the end of the day, you're asking yourself, what did I actually get done? This is how most people spend their time, trapped in the illusion of productivity. We confuse activity with effectiveness, but not all tasks are created equal. Answering 40 low-impact emails might feel satisfying at the moment, but it rarely moves the needle. Meanwhile, 1 hour of focused, deep work, writing, building, planning, learning, can create results that echo for weeks. The problem is that the 80% is loud and urgent, while the 20% is quiet and powerful. And without awareness, we default to reacting, not creating. If this sounds familiar, it's because you're not alone. Most of us live here. And that's exactly why things need to change. Section 3. Identifying your 20%. So how do you figure out what your high-impact 20% actually is? It starts with a simple question. What 20% of your actions have led to 80% of your progress, success, or happiness? Look back. When you made the biggest leap forward, whether it was a promotion, a successful project, better grades, or personal growth, what exactly were you doing? Chances are it wasn't multitasking or checking boxes. It was something focused, meaningful, and intentional. Here's a step-by-step way to spot your 20%. Review past wins. What actions directly led to major outcomes? Identify high-leverage activities. These are tasks where one action creates multiple results. For example, writing a piece of content that attracts leads for months, or learning a skill that pays off for years. Notice the work that requires deep focus. If it demands your full attention and feels mentally taxing, it's probably important. Ask, does this move me closer to my long-term goals? If it doesn't, it may belong in the 80%. And here's the emotional truth. The 20% often feels hard. It's not always fun, but it's where the growth happens. It's where the breakthroughs live. Recognizing your 20% is powerful, but it's only half the equation. Now, let's talk about how to eliminate the rest. Section 4. Cutting the noise. Now that you know your 20%, it's time to deal with the other 80%. The distractions, the clutter, the things that keep you busy but not better. Let's name a few of the usual suspects. Mindless social media scrolling back-to-back, unproductive meetings, over-checking email low-return habits like over-planning, micromanaging, or fake work. These are the tasks that give you the illusion of progress. The busyness theater. You look and feel active, but nothing meaningful moves forward. So, how do you cut the noise? Start with an avoid list, a simple document where you write down tasks, habits, or commitments that seem important but actually offer little return. This list is just as important as your to-do list. Learn to say no without guilt. You're not rejecting people. You're protecting your focus. Try phrases like, I can't commit to that right now. Let me get back to you after reviewing my priorities. Then, implement simple systems to guard your time. Time blocking. Schedule your 20% work first each day. Prioritization frameworks. Use methods like the Eisenhower matrix to spot what's urgent versus important. Digital decluttering. Turn off non-essential notifications. Limit daily app usage. Eliminating the 80% isn't about doing less for the sake of it. It's about creating space for what matters most. Section 5. Tools and habits to maximize the 20%. You've identified your 20% and started cutting the noise. Let's make it stick with some powerful tools and habits that keep you focused where it counts. Tools. Eisenhower matrix. Divide your tasks into 4 categories: urgent and important. Important but not urgent. Urgent but not important. Neither. This helps you prioritize the tasks that truly matter and dump the rest. Time tracking apps like Toggle or Rescue Time track how you actually spend your time. You might be surprised where your hours are going, and once you see it, you can fix it. Pomodoro technique. Work in focused 25-minute sprints, followed by 5-minute breaks. It's great for beating procrastination and getting into deep work fast. Habits. Impact list. Instead of a long to-do list, choose 1 to 3 tasks that will create the biggest result. Do those first. Morning planning ritual. Start each day with intention. Ask, what's the one thing I could do today that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Weekly review. Reflect on your week. What worked? What was a waste? Adjust accordingly to keep doubling down on the 20%. Section 6. Mindset shift. Let's take a real-world example. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time. He attributes much of his success to an extreme focus on just a few high-impact decisions. His strategy, he says, the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. Closer to home, think about someone who streamlined their business by outsourcing low-impact tasks and suddenly had time to grow faster and spend more time with family. Or the student who stopped obsessing over every class note and instead focused on key concepts, and their grades skyrocketed. When you shift your mindset to doing less but better, here's what happens. Less burnout because you're not chasing everything. More free time because you're working smarter. Bigger results because you're focused on what actually counts. And remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. Once you're aware, you're in control. Here's the truth. Your time is your most valuable asset, and most people give it away without realizing it. But not you. Not anymore. You now know how to spot what matters, eliminate the rest, and get real results with less effort. If this video helped shift your perspective, drop a comment with what you're cutting out of your 80% today. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe, because your time deserves to be respected.